This is our last demo on the UI controls, and it does borrow from the ball pane that we put together and talked about earlier. Here it is, just to refresh your memory. And there's no changes, it's just like it looked like before. So here's the new piece of code we're using to utilize that ball pane to make the slider control the speed of the ball. Well, by the time we strip away all the code at the bottom here and the code at the top here, there's not much left. So let's zoom in and take a look at what this does. Well, by the time the dust is settled, this is all that's left to look at. We create a ball pane using the class that I just showed you a moment ago. We create ourselves a slider here called SL Speed. We set the maximum value to 20. We change the rate property of the ball pane simply by binding it to the value of the SL speed. So that is actually something that you saw in chapter 14, and we're now way over in chapter 16. So it isn't in the chapter really on event-driven programming in a sense. It comes from chapter 14. It's just a bind, but indirectly it still has the same effect, because what happens is as the slider value property changes, that immediately makes the ball pane rate property change along with it, because the two have been bound together. And then of course we make ourselves a border pane. We put the ball pane in the center, and we put the slider in the bottom, and that's it. So now let's take a look at what happens when we run the demo. So here we go. Notice the slider is at position 0 and the ball's not moving. As we move the slider a little bit, the ball moves slowly. If I move it back to 0, it stops. If I go all the way to the end, it's going to move at its maximum speed. If I move it to the middle, it will go at 50% speed, and so on and so forth. So remember, we did this just by using bind. So that brings an important point forward, and that's that some of that material in the earlier chapters can still be used with some of these UIs that you haven't seen in the earlier chapters.